Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast. My name is Jack, and today we are reviewing Hell in a Cell 2018, which a fantastic start to the pay-per-view. First 5 matches were fantastic. Last 3 were questionable, I would say. Don't know why I got my earphones in, but yeah, it was. I enjoyed myself tonight. I can see why people wouldn't like it because of the main event of what happened, but I enjoyed myself. Most of the matches, right winners, fantastic matches. Some of the matches, just happens that the ones that were the final 3 matches, but we'll get onto that. First off, pre-show, New Day versus Rusev Day for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. They didn't add any more matches to the cards, so they had to stick one match onto the pre-show. I can understand why they stuck this one on the pre-show because it was the one with the least build. And in my eyes, I wouldn't have stuck any of them on the pre-show, but you had to stick one on. This was the most obvious one, I guess. New Day beats Rusev Day after Aiden English kind of screwed over Rusev Day by tagging himself in and then costing Rusev and himself the match. Rusev Day didn't split, but I think it was the last final tease before Tuesday night where they officially split. I would have thought, because they can't keep teasing it. Well, it's WWE, they can keep teasing it because they do over tease things, but yeah, it was a good match. Considering it was on the pre-show. It's a New Day match. Like, every New Day match is good. Adds Rusev into there, fantastic. Aiden's overselling, and even got a fair few moves in there, which good. Aiden's getting there. I just don't know what's going to happen to him when him and Rusev split. I don't know what more there is for him to do, but we'll have to wait and see. But we'll kick off the main show with the sickening Hell in a Cell match between Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. Randy Orton won, but not because he outsmarted. He did outsmart Jeff because Randy didn't jump off something. But it was a fantastic match. They had all the spots in there. Randy Orton did his finger poke of doom through Jeff's ear hole where his stretcher is, but not just with his finger. Don't be naughty now. Don't get that dirty 4 hours head. He got a screwdriver from under the ring, stuck it in Jeff's ear, and then twisted the screwdriver so Jeff's ear was twisted around this screwdriver. It looked. I don't. As you can see, I don't have stretchers, but I felt a little bit sick. It wasn't fantastic viewing. It's just brutal. I was going to say, if you haven't seen it, go on Twitter or on the network. But if you're into that kind of stuff, go see it. But the ending of the match was Jeff was setting up his spot where he goes up the ladder, jumps over the ladder to hit a leg drop onto his opponent who was sat or led on the table underneath. But he couldn't do that because when he set up the ladder and climbed up there, the cell roof was in the way, so he couldn't jump over. So what did Jeff do? Grabbed onto the roof and then climbed across and climbed to be on, over the table. And he was just swinging from the roof of the cell. Counted himself down, obviously. 3, 2, 1. Released from the cell, face planted the table as Randy Orton had moved. It looked saddening to see Jeff do that, but he seemed alright. The ref played this perfectly. He was screaming, like, get up the cell. You can tell it wasn't real because they didn't throw up the X, so you can tell that Jeff was alright, but they were playing it off for a story. He was like, raise the cell, get the EMTs out here immediately. Randy Orton, the great sportsmanship, as always, jumped on Jeff Hardy, shouted at the ref, do your bloody job, count my pin now. While Jeff Hardy was just led pretty much dead on the floor. Randy Orton, count the pin. The ref was like, oh God, reluctantly counted the pin, chucked Randy Orton off, checked if Jeff was alright. EMTs come, stretcher off. He got stretchered off. They were given reports throughout the night. He seemed alright. He'll have a few months off, I would have thought. And we'll have to wait and see what happens from there. He's had his Hell in a Cell moment, which he wanted. He wanted to do a spot inside Hell in a Cell. Good. He's done that now. No more. Just no more. Like, he's older now. He's not exactly not injured most of the time. He's always carrying some sort of injury. Just no more stupid spots, please. You've had your moment. You've done fantastic in entertaining us as fans in sports entertainment by jumping off high things. But I can't speak for everyone because I'm not sure. People will probably want to see it. I don't want to see Jeff Hardy jump off anything too high anymore because I like the guy and I don't want to see him get really, really hurt. So he'll probably have a few months off and then he'll return. Maybe as Jeff, maybe as Brother Nero, maybe as Willow from his TNA days. Don't know. But Randy Orton won anyway. And hopefully Jeff will be okay. SmackDown Women's Championship match. Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch won, everyone. She won the match. She is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. There wasn't much to say about this match. It was a really, really good match. I can't really remember the finish. All I remember, it was just so sudden. It came out of nowhere. Becky Lynch did a move on Charlotte, like a suplex or something, I can't remember, and then just hit the pin and then kind of just rolled over Charlotte's shoulder so she couldn't kick out. It was a logical finish. Like, just Becky Lynch was like, right, I'm pinning you, but I'm rolling towards your shoulders so you literally can't lift them up. And she won. Becky Lynch is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Charlotte went to shake her hands afterwards, and Becky just held up the title and went, I don't need... something along the lines of, I don't need your friendship, I've now got this. Or something like that. And then walked off with her strut. Like I said, it was a really good match. Becky Lynch, fantastic that she's now champion. The right person won. I would have liked to seen it happen at Evolution, but I'm just happy that Becky's got the title. And hopefully she carries it on for a little while, and they don't hot shot the title like Charlotte and Sasha did. I'm hoping that they don't keep putting the title back and forth between Becky and Charlotte. I can see why they do it, but I don't like it personally. But yeah, Becky Lynch is your new champion. Everyone's happy. Next up, we had what was possibly my match of the night. Either this or the Randy Orton Jeff Hardy match, but I would say this pips it just. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus The Shield. Fantastic match for the Raw Tag Team Championship. And it was won and retained by Drew and Dolph Ziggler. It was just amazing. Like, it showed tag team wrestling off perfectly, in my opinion. It made the tag team championships seem viable again. Hopefully now they can introduce an IC title match and make that look viable as well, instead of just casting it off for a pay-per-view. But yeah, fantastic match. The finish of the match was Seth looked like he had the match won. He went the superplex off the top rope. That's where a superplex is from, Jack. Well done. Went to do the Falcon Arrow. Drew came running in. Claymore straight to Seth's face as he had Dolph up for the Falcon Arrow. They both fell backwards. Dolph just so happened to fall with his arm across Seth's chest. 1, 2, 3. They retain. Drew then had to carry Dolph on his shoulders to get him out of the arena. So that plays on the fact that if Drew wasn't there to save the team, Dolph wasn't kicking out. Like, Seth had won the match and Drew had just saved the tag team titles for everyone. It was fantastic. Fantastic match. Go and watch it. If I said go watch one match from Hell in a Cell, it would be that one. Because the last 15 minutes were just fantastic. Next up, we had the WWE Championship mid card again. My blinds are doing a madness noise. Sorry about that. WWE Championship, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, which ended in a similar way that the exact way that the Kairi Sane Shayna Baszler won at the last NXT Takeover, where Kairi rolled the clutch. In this case, Samoa Joe put the Koki in the clutch onto AJ Styles. As Samoa Joe fell backwards, AJ used that momentum to then flip onto Joe's shoulders, and the ref counted to pin at 1, 2, 3. But what we didn't see from our camera angle, and what the ref didn't see, was AJ Styles tapped out to the Koki in the clutch, which Samoa Joe obviously thought that he'd won, and he was absolutely livid, which he would be. They showed the reverse camera angle, and as the ref was counting 2, AJ started tapping out. Madness. It carries on the feud perfectly. Samoa Joe just seems more livid and looks like he's going to kill someone. AJ Styles kind of scuppered away, like looks like he's just going to scup away with his tail in between his legs. Like, I've still got this. It was a bit shady, but I've still got it. And yeah, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. They've got fantastic chemistry together, and they've got another match coming at this Aussie house show kind of thing, and it's a no contest, but yeah, no DQ match for the title. I still think AJ's keeping the title until he breaks CM Punk record, which happens a couple of weeks before the Rumble. But you never know. I think he might. Oh, what I would like to see is, because he's tapping out, he knows that Joe's got him beat. I think AJ might ask for some backup from a couple of good brothers, maybe. That's what I would like to see, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Next up, the weakest match on the card by a mile: Daniel Bryan versus Brie Bella Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella versus Miz and Maurice. Just a pretty dead match, if I'm honest, and not to sound sexist or anything, but it was the fault of Maurice and Brie Bella, in my opinion, that the match kind of just died on its arse. Maurice, she, in my opinion, in this day and age where women's wrestling is actually like taken seriously, I don't think it's for her. She's a fantastic manager, but she can't, in my opinion, she just can't do it. She just can't do it. Brie Bella is sloppy. It's sloppy. It looks like she might have returned too early. Whatever. They're wrestling now. It's whatever. But yeah, the match was hindered by those two, in my opinion. Miz and Maurice won by Maurice rolling up. Brie Bella went to pin Maurice and she botched the pin because Maurice's shoulder was up. Maurice then turned the pin around, pins Brie Bella. I'm surprised they had Brie Bella get pinned, or a Bella get pinned this soon after returning, but hey ho, Miz and Maurice win. Moving on to the Raw Women's Championship between Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss. This was an okay match. There was a bit of character development on both sides. Alexa Bliss got pretty much all the offense in because of Ronda Rousey's ribs, and it made Ronda Rousey look beatable but not weak, which I thought was really good. And it made Alexa Bliss look like she is a credible threat again, which was fantastic. Ronda Rousey obviously retains the title. But yeah, it was a good match. It was a good story. Like, in terms of wrestling, there wasn't much wrestling because it was just Alexa Bliss kicking Ronda in the ribs and whatnot, working the ribs. And then Ronda Rousey coming back and hitting an armbar on Alexa when she taps out. Like, but in terms of making Ronda look beatable but not weak, and having Alexa rebuild that credibility, it was good, in my opinion. It was good. Next up, we had the main event: Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Mick Foley as ref. Inside Hell in a Cell. Weird. Just weird. It was a good match. it, I don't know where to go with this. The dog's jogging on. Even he's just a bit. Meh. Right. Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, obviously in the cell, they were beating each other up. Chairs, kendo sticks, whatever. Roman speared Braun through a table which was leant up against the turnbuckles. And then once he did that, both men were led down. So that's fine. Dolph and Drew then came out to try and get in the cell. Seth and Dean then came out to help Roman. They were fighting on the outside. Both teams then climbed up onto the cell, both Dolph and Drew and Seth and Dean. And they were fighting across the cell. There was just, you thought, oh my god, someone's going to like fall through the cell. Dolph went to climb down the cell. Seth went after him, and they were smacking each other heads against the cell, a bit like what Dean and Seth did when they were in the Hell in a Cell. Whacked each other's heads off. They then both fell through the announce tables, one each of the announce tables. This was about 10 minutes of the match, I would say. At this point, neither Roman or Braun were up. Like, they were both still led down, which is, in my eyes, it's just a bit weird. It's just, Roman didn't get hit by a move. He did the move, and he's led down having a nap for 10 minutes. Braun Strowman is a monster. A spear through a table shouldn't hinder him that much. He should be up. As soon as the two went through the table, a certain someone's music hit. And we had not permanent return, just a return of an ex-Universal Champion in Brock Lesnar. He came in, he ripped the cell off, the door off the cell even, F5'd both men, who were still led down at this point. It was about 15 minutes after the spear. They were still led down, hit an F5 to Braun, F5 to Roman, onto Braun, and then they ended the match as a no contest inside Hell in a Cell. It was a bit weird. Not Mick Foley's fault, because poor Heyman sprays Mick Foley with some pepper spray. So he was out of it. It was just a bit weird. But, hey-ho, I guess. It's a way to make Brock look strong before he goes to UFC. And it's a cheap way to get the Money in the Bank briefcase off Braun. And not hurt him, I guess. And it's a cheap way to keep Roman as the champion. No contest in the cell should never happen. Especially if you've got Mick Foley in there. A guy who legitimately nearly killed himself by jumping off cells and shit. And you're ending a Hell in a Cell match as a no contest. When that man carried on wrestling after falling off a cage and falling through a cage onto a wooden ring. Like, neither of those matches ended in no contests. I just don't know. I just don't know. It was weird. But it was just weird. That's all I can say. First 5 matches, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Mixed match was dead, in my opinion. Raw Women's was good. It was okay. It did the job. The main event was weird. I can't say that enough. It was weird. But hopefully Brock's not on Raw later. I'm just hoping he's not. He shouldn't be, because obviously he's getting paid far too much anyway. And I would want him to concentrate on going to the UFC, because he's got his match in the UFC he needs to concentrate on, not Roman and Braun. But yeah, Hell in a Cell, I'll give it a C. It was an A. If it was just the first 5 matches, it was getting an A. Then what happened at the end, it killed it off a little bit. But it was better than Backlash. That's all you can say. I have been Jack. I forgot how to do an outro. My name's been Jack. Please like the video if you enjoyed this review. Please subscribe if you're new around here, or you haven't done so already, for reviews of pay-per-views, Raw, SmackDowns. And I shall see you again for Monday Night Raw tomorrow morning, or afternoon, depends when I wake up. And yeah, just interesting to see what happens. I'll see you again tomorrow. Weird, so weird.